Well, on today's video, I struggle with the car for 2 straight days and we lose slash win slash some stuff gets done. I don't know. You'll see. Just have fun watching my stupidity. What is up, party people? It's Wednesday. It's the next day. So, as you can see, yesterday I got the car put back together, rotated back around, went for a drive. The exhaust is probably worse, but that's fine. It looks better. So went for a drive, spun it around, got it jacked up, and had somewhere between 2 and 12 beers, and drank my sorrows away and watched some of my favorite YouTube guys. Trying to get myself some motivation. I also started making phone calls, text messages, sending out, road flares, smoke signals, carrier pigeons, everything. Like, does somebody have a diff that I can weld? 1.6, 1.8, I didn't really care. And after posting the video yesterday, a buddy of mine from work called me and was like, man, I got this 1.8 diff. We've been talking about it earlier in the week. And he's like, come get this thing. So shout out Dylan, you're the real MVP today. So we are getting ready to load up. The car itself is sitting on the ground. The diff is out. So the diff and axles are out with the PPF attached. The drive shaft, I think, is still under the car. So I've got to bring my jack. But we're going to take a run down the road here to Pell City and go get us a diff. So things are looking up today. And then hopefully get that old diff out, weld the new one. I'll kind of take you guys through all that. And then we might even get to some knuckles and some painting today. It is about 19 degrees right now, but it's supposed to be 36, which is perfect painting weather. It's not. I don't care. This has to get done. So let's go on a ride. All right, so nice, beautiful 27 degrees out. This is my man Dylan. He's the one who came to the rescue. And this is the Miata that we have to, the diff is actually already out of it. So she's buried in there. But there's a drive shaft somewhere in all that mess. So I got to try and get a jack underneath there, slide that drive shaft out, and then we're going to jump over around the corner over behind his house, load this diff up, and start heading out. So I don't think I'm going to film all of this because I don't know how it's going to go. And I don't have a tripod or a stand or anything. And these trees don't like suction cuppy phone mounts. So I'll see you guys in a little while. All right. So it is not every day that I get to thank somebody for helping me out. When you sit in the garage and work by yourself most of the time, you kind of get used to that. And I put yesterday's video up, feeling a little bit defeated, and Dylan gave me a holler and was like, man, I got this diff, come and get it. Dylan, I know I told you about 10 times, but I can't thank you enough. You are the MVP of this video and of this event. I can't possibly begin to thank you enough, so thank you again. With that being said, I do have some cleanup stuff that I have to do. When I was popping these out, the diff was still in a Miata rear subframe. The subframe was out of the car, but the diff was still in the subframe. So when we were popping the axles and everything out, the cap that holds in the bearings and the bearing cage itself, trying to pull those off, it kind of pulled out around the bearings, and I dropped a couple on the driver's side axle. So I've got to try and clean that up, throw those bearings back in, pack all that stuff. Not a big deal, shouldn't take me that long. I thought about welding the caps, but the reality is once I get those slid onto the diff when it's in the car, they're fine. It'll hold it in. It'll never come out. So I'm not really that concerned with that. I gotta take a flat disc to one of these ends. All we had there, I literally brought my snap-on half-inch impact that was dead as a doornail and like 6 sockets. I don't know what I was thinking. I was just so excited to go get the diff. I just loaded up in the car, grabbed about a handful of tools, and took off. And again, Dylan came through, had a bunch of tools, pry bars, breaker bar. We got everything broke loose, pulled out. I can't say it enough. Thank you, Dylan. You saved my butt. So we're gonna get the axles cleaned up, packed, ready to go back in. I've got to get the PPF separated from the diff. I technically don't have to get it separated. I may be able to unbolt it without taking the PPF off, because I'm just gonna pull the old 1.6 diff off with that PPF and bolt this one back on. They're all the same. That may be the easier way to go about it, but I gotta get this drained, and I've got to get the stub shafts, the little ears here. I gotta get those off, and then once that happens, I can pull this carrier, pull the differential out of the carrier, weld everything up, get my stuff cleaned up, and then we'll get underneath the car and we'll get this thing, get the old one out and the new one in. Let's get to work. Well, I don't know if you guys saw, but that went about as well as getting a colonoscopy from your dentist. It wasn't good. I didn't bring you guys down to the car or like really show you guys what I was looking at when we went down there. Car had some speed holes, some weight reduction, if you will. Yeah, it was rusty, and I was like, man, maybe it's like northern. I was trying to talk myself into it's gonna be okay, right? Maybe it's like northern Alabama, eastern Tennessee. Maybe it's not that. Maybe it's not like East Coast rust, and it probably isn't. People, my family back east watching this, probably laughing at me like, "You think that's rust?" But I was raised in Vegas and then moved to Alabama. I've lived in the desert in the South. This is a new thing for me. I don't run into this very often. So she was pretty bad. I had to cut a bunch of stuff off. This guy here, this little 12 mil, is rounded out. I tried to put my little 6-point impact on it, and the second I touched the trigger, it just spun. So I'm gonna try and hammer like a 12-point on it. That should get everything loose. I've knocked the stub shafts out. That should get everything loose where I can take this carrier out. I do have to run to the store. I've got to get crimp fitting for my that ground cable I showed yesterday, the video from yesterday. Ground cable shot. So, and I'm going to go ahead and check and make sure I have all the ball bearings that fell out of this axle. If not, I may have to try and figure something else out. We're obviously not going to be able to use that PPF because I had to cut bolts. And I mean, the second I twisted the first bolt, it just snapped. It's like, well, this is not going well. It came out of the rear diff so easy, I kind of had myself fooled it like everything was going to be okay. And then the second I touched those bolts, I'm like, oh man, what have I done? So when I get the 1.6 diff out, I'll just disassemble it. It is not rusty. I took that entire car apart, literally stripped every last piece I could off of it, and there was no rust anywhere. So that one should come apart a little bit easier. I should be able to use the pieces from it to rebuild this diff. And I'm gonna run to the store, get some stuff to fix my welder, and then I'll be back, and I will probably just start another time-lapse video of that once I get back. So I guess let's get back to work. Sometimes I can't help but wonder why I do some of this stuff I do. Remember that 12 mil bolt on the bottom that I said I was going to hammer an 11 on? And it would spin. The 11 didn't spin it. And so I cut the head of the bolt off. I got it all ground flush with the case. And I started hammering away kind of around that bolt. And I noticed the top start to come separated. And so I started working like a screwdriver and a pry bar around it. And I got down to where that bolt is, and that bolt was pretty good and stuff. And so I did the smart thing, and I stuck a pry bar in the side here and the side here, and I turned it up, and I hammered on the bottom side. And now I got a window to the inside of my diff like a damn stuck pig. So I'm basically back at square one again. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm having such issues, but I am. So, for whatever reason, this world does not want me to run a 1.8 welded diff, or a welded diff at all for that matter. So, this one's a little bit of a bummer. I don't even know what to say. If it had just been gone in the car open, it would have ran and worked fine. But if you ever tried to separate this thing, it was never going to happen. Dylan, I apologize. An open 1.8 diff is more useless to me than the VLSD, and I didn't think this was going to be the issue. So I'm really sorry, bud. But she's smoked. She's good and smoked. It's cracked in multiple places. I mean, it's basically a window. I think the first time my clutch kicker hit a big bump driving down the road, it's just going to start sending fluid out the front. I think that thing's done. So, for some reason, the universe wants me to run a 1.6 diff. It is what it is. I don't know what else to do at this point. So, I'm going to go for gold, as they would say. I'm going to pull these wheels off and start painting, because I need, again, just like yesterday, I need to pick me up. So, yay. Okay, well, day 2 on this video, and boy, do I have a confession to make. So I thought, God, I feel like an idiot even saying this out loud. So for some reason, when I got under the car, this thing's been sitting on jack stands for 6 years. Okay, I consider myself like a Miata guy. I really do. It's all I've known car-wise, other than Crown Vics and like Mercury Grand Marquis or OBS Chevys. It's really like the only thing that I really knew. And when it sat on jack stands for 6 years, apparently my mind just drew a blank on everything. When I got underneath this car and I saw the one-piece axles, I was like, oh man, that for some reason my brain said, oh, I think those are weaker. It's got to be a VLSD or a 1.6 diff, I should say. Which any Miata guy watching right now is laughing his tail off at me. The other side of that is, and I didn't really pay attention until I started doing research yesterday, that the front of the diff where the drive shaft connects had a damper on it. Not a single 1.6 that ever came in this country came with a damper on the front. It never dawned on me. Nothing ever clicked. So last night I started looking for a diff because I felt so bad about breaking Dylan's and like not being able to use it, that I was like, man, I got to find a way to use this thing and make this all worth it. So I started looking for diffs, trying to find one around the 150, 200 range and spend money I don't have, essentially. But I really wanted to get this done. And And as I'm searching, I'm seeing a bunch of people with 1.8 liter Torsons with one-piece axles. And I'm like, what? So I dive into a little bit of research. It turns out 95 and up, which they switched to the 1.8 on Miatas in 94. 95, mid-year 95 and up to 05. That particular NANB Miata differential, one-piece axles, they're actually stronger than the two-piece. So I had that wrong. And so I popped my filler plug and I looked in there and I saw spider gears. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have had a 1.8 liter open diff this entire time. I don't know why I thought it was a viscous. So then the curiosity got the better of me. And I was like, I wonder if Dylan's diff is a 1.8 liter open or not. Remember I had the two-piece axles and stuff, Shep? So it's an earlier 1.8 diff. And I don't know if any of you know anything about Torsons, but the earlier Type 1 seems to be the one that guys seem to like a little bit more. Yet Dylan loaded up a Type 1 1.8 liter Torsen in the back of my truck thinking it was an open diff. Was just like, here you go. Here's $1,000 to $1,200. Bye-bye. Yeah. I am a very honest guy, so I called Dylan first thing when I found out. I actually talked to him before I filmed this, and I told him, I said, look, bud, I'm sorry. I said, thank God, he was so cool about it. He was like, look, man, I never would have known. I thought it was an open diff the whole time. I would have either sold it or it would have just sat back there rotting. I would have never changed it. He said, so this is kind of a blessing in disguise. So, guys, do your research before you start freaking out. This is more of a conversation I'm having with myself. But man, if you're watching this and you're not sure about something, just look it up. Just do your research. Because I could have avoided all of this, and I could have had a diff welded 2 days ago. I'm home again because the little man was not feeling good, and he's actually upstairs asleep, so I can't really do anything with like the compressor. I can't start zipping that diff out to weld it right now. And yesterday I went to go clean, and my hose bib right here was absolutely frozen, like frozen solid. Wouldn't come on, and again, I was just like, man, I'm out, right? So I just came down. I got the hose laid all the way out, and it was still a little bit frozen, but you'd be shocked what a little can of brake clean and one of them big lighters do. It's like that lighter hit that brake clean, aim it on there, it's like a blowtorch. Worked just fine. So I got that freed. I'm gonna go ahead and wash these wheels. And I think I'm going to get some gold paint slapped on here. And maybe I get some flake on. I wanted to show you guys this. This is really cool. So I am a sucker for flake. I've actually got paint that I want to put on this car in here if I ever get to it. And there's some flake that's going to go with it. But I have this right here. So this is from a company called Paint Huffer. I really like this stuff. I've used it a bunch on wheels and valve covers. I've got two different thicknesses of gold. I've got there like a 0.04 and a 0.08, so it'll have multiple levels of awesomeness. And I've got in that kit back there, I have some clear. So I am going to I'm going to put a couple coats of spray paint. I just got some Duplicolor like wheel paint. I'm going to throw some of that on there and get the color changed on the wheels in the valve cover. And then I will probably end up mixing up some clear and throw some of that flake in there and laying that down. And I can, I'll show you guys as I'm doing like a last coat or whatever, but I'll go straight to a time lapse. Sorry, this is more talking and not working, but I promise you I'm going to get to work and I'm going to start right now. Let's do this. All right, so As you saw, I pulled the valve cover off the old engine. I've got that drying, along with the wheels. So wheels are down here. I scuffed up the front, I cleaned everything and then scuffed up the front face of them. And the lip, I'm not gonna paint the back because you can't see through the spokes. And even if you could, I'll be honest with you, I think the black looks pretty good. I'm trying to save as much money as I can, so I don't know if I'm even gonna tape off the backside of that. I may just stick like a piece of cardboard. I've got a bunch of Amazon boxes because my wife loves Amazon. And I'm gonna just cut some of those into like little openings and kind of stuff those into there so to keep the overspray from making it look too bad. I really don't care what these wheels look like. It's going on a drift car. I know you hear people say that all the time, but do I care? No. And do I need them to look perfect? Also, no. I really don't. They're gonna look better. Even if the paint doesn't stick well, they're gonna look better than they looked. I just don't. I don't like the look of black wheels. It just looks like you just went to a catalog and bought the cheapest wheel and was like, yeah, that'll do. It doesn't show the definition. It doesn't, the sunlight when it hits, it doesn't make it pop. Man, I'm a sucker for the gold. That's why that's why I like the gold and chrome graphics on the car and all that stuff. And I want to match everything and just make it look cool. So I'm going to let everything dry. I am going to, this thing is still, I got it as clean as I can with a Scotch-Brite. It still feels a little gross and oily. So I'm going to, once it dries, I'm going to try and hit it with some stuff I've got upstairs that my wife uses. I want to call it, it's awesome or something, totally awesome something. Hit it with that. See if that'll help. I'm going to spray it black so it matches the wheels, and I'm going to use the same paint. The wheel paint is very similar to the engine paint in that it's good to like 500 degrees. And I'll be honest, there's times when I can touch my valve cover and I can't touch my wheels after going hot lapping. So I think that should be good enough. And even if it isn't, I've got another valve cover there and another valve cover there, and there was a valve cover that came off that somewhere. I have a lot of Miata valve covers. I've got like 8 intake manifolds. I thought about swapping that out, but I'm lazy, and I've got way too much still to do. So I am going to run. Shoot, I can't run. I'm going to wait on these to dry, get myself some lunch, and then I guess hopefully if they're dry, we can start painting and get some paint on these things. I'll like I said, I'm probably gonna end up doing like the valve cover and the 3 of them, and on the 4th one I'll stop and I'll show you guys kind of what I do, and then I'll go back and mix up the flake in the clear, and same thing, I'll probably shoot 3 out of the 4 and then come grab you guys and we'll walk through that process. This video is going to be a little bit longer than the other 2 because it's spanning over 2 days, but this is, again, I mean, I'm doing this because this is fun. Honestly, I'm having fun doing this, man, and documenting all this stuff. This is what working on cars is for me, and I'm gonna have days where like everything goes right and everything falls together and I get more done than I planned on, and then there's gonna be days when I have this great giant plan in my head and everything just goes AWOL. So so far today's been a good day, so let's keep this train rolling. Let me go get some stuff and I'll get back to doing some work. All right, so while the kiddo's still down for a nap, finishing that up, and I was literally waiting on paint to dry. I painted that black, so I was waiting on that to dry. I went ahead and put it inside. I got a little heater in there in the old Fenway basement. So that is close enough to being ready to go that I can start scuffing. I cut up some cardboard and got that set behind these here so it won't mess up the back and overspray too bad the gold on the back of there. And while I was waiting, I went ahead and disassembled the back end of this thing and got these pulled out, and I did go ahead and verify that after popping the axles out, there is a bar that runs through the center of the 2 spider gears. So I've had a 1.8 open diff the whole time. I know. Anyway, I've got that already. The paint's pretty much dry. I got me a nice frosty adult beverage. So I've got the paint inside getting warm. Would you shut up? Oh man, they're all going nuts over there. Gladys, Mildred, that's the gooses. And I got in trouble. I called Wilfred, who's the big rooster over there. He got real mad. He was real rowdy yesterday, and I called him Gladys. Him and Mildred, Gladys, Wilford. I think we got I forgot what the other guy's name. And one of them's Chicken Lips Charlie. I don't know what's up with him. They're pretty rowdy, but they were upset yesterday that I called them the wrong name. So I apologize. I'm sorry. Okay? I'm sorry. Anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and shoot some paint on here. I'll go ahead and hit you with the time lapse, and I'll bring you in here when I start to put on some of the final coat stuff. We're gonna do a couple. I'm just gonna do a couple light coats to get it to. I want this nice and thin because the clear's probably gonna go on a little thicker, being that it's like a real 2K automotive clear, and I've got to shoot it. I've got some hobo freight guns over there, and some cups and stuff. I got to get that all mixed up. And yeah, we're gonna get these all shot today, and I don't know. I may start painting some of the interior stuff, doing the old Rust-Oleum carpet because everything's just miscolored in here. So I may pop the seats and the center console and all that out. I also hate that center. When I parted my car out, a kid came by and got mine, so I pulled this out of that 91 that we did, and that's what it looked like. It had the center console was flaked the same way. And it looks terrible, but I don't know if I'm gonna have time to mess with it, and I don't know. I may just pick up another one, who knows? But I gotta get some paint on here. That looks kind of like crap. And then probably next weekend I'll probably do a video for like the interior stuff. I've got some. Actually, here, let me show you what the heck. Run inside the old Fenway basement. So I've got the other parts of the tan interior sitting here. And that is what the top piece is gonna go. It's like a really cool like black leather. It's very soft, kind of velvety. And then I'm gonna do the door panels, this material here. So that's really cool. I thought that would look cool with the blacked out interior, and the tan looks terrible. I got some vinyl interior spray for that. So yeah, I'll start messing with some of that next week, I think. So anyway, let me get you guys set up, and we'll do a quick time lapse of me shooting some paint on there, and I'll bring you guys in when I put like the final coat on, okay? Alright, well, I went ahead and kind of got the first light coat on there. I've got a couple of runs. Obviously, it's just way too cold to be painting. But I've got some of the gold starting to go down here. The valve cover looks really good. And so it's more of like a dark bronze color. But I don't know if I got any runs on these. Oh yeah, I got runs everywhere. This metallic didn't stick on real well, so I should have gone a little bit lighter coat and probably done this in like, I don't know, 50-degree weather, not 30. Also, I know you guys, if you're paying attention, you have a keen eye. You probably saw me start to spray one of those wheels before I taped it off. I did end up getting them taped off. I'll have to just take a little bit of like, thinner or mineral spirits or something and clean up the tire. I just barely spritzed it and realized it. Also, if you have a chance to use masking tape that's not from a dollar store, like when the Clinton administration was still in office, that'd be a good choice because every about 3/8 of a millimeter it tried to rip into 87 pieces. So that was a bit of a challenge to get this old tape, but I am cheap and I had it here. So I ended up using it and it'll be fine. Like I said, the runs I will actually be able to kind of, hopefully I can get a little bit more paint down in that corner of those lips there. And I'll get some of that stuff to not look as bad. It's still going to be there. If you look at the wheels when I go to an event, it's going to be there. But if I bury it in enough flake and clear, maybe it won't look as garbage. I really don't care. I think these wheels, even if it was one giant run, would still look better than they did with the black lip and the weird dark bronze center. So I'm going to go ahead and shut the camera down for the night. I'm going to go ahead and shoot all these. And then tomorrow morning, I'll get back with you guys and we'll mix up some clear and some flake. And kind of continue this video. All right, see you guys in the morning. All right, well, this video is actually gone a little bit longer than I originally had intended. So I think what I'm actually gonna do, and I'll show you real quick, I did end up got the gold all on the wheels. Man, I actually got that run. I mean, you really can't see any of them. I was able to kind of paint out most of the imperfections in these wheels, all the runs that I had. I popped the center console out, and I took care of that ugly little piece. And Rust-Oleum carpet. I mean, it looks like garbage, but it looks better than it did. So anyway, I think I'm going to just go ahead and end this video. I also, you know, my plan is not to like overload the channel or anything with too much, but I also don't want to try and pack a bunch of stuff into like a week or two and then not have anything for a month. So I'm probably going to upload this video either Saturday or Sunday. And I think what I will go ahead and do is like tomorrow I'll film some content on getting everything finished and flaking and welding the diff and how to prep for an event. And I'll go to the event on Saturday. And that video, which will kind of be like a part 2 to this one, will actually come out the following week. I would like to just do a video once every week. And if I overload too much, you guys are going to get tired of watching it. And I'm afraid I'll get tired of doing it. And also, the biggest concern is that I'll run out of content or stuff to do. And by that, I mean I'll run out of money. So I'm going to go ahead and post this video. Will go up either tomorrow or Saturday or Sunday. I haven't completely decided. And then I'll put up another one about getting stuff done. I do have so much stuff that I can do to this car that'll be fun to do and fun to film. And hopefully you guys enjoy this kind of stuff. Like I said, it makes me feel like I'm not working by myself in the garage. So really, I can't thank you guys enough for tuning in. I know I've said it about 20 times in this video, but Dylan, I can't thank you enough for trying to help out. Sorry about that. Sorry about the case, but you're welcome to find out that you have a Torsen. And look, guys, wish me luck. I'll make sure to put some really cool stuff with the drift event. I'll get a bunch of other people's cars, and hopefully I'll get some videos of this thing sliding. I don't know. I'm not going to have a roll bar, so they might not let me on, but I'm going to go ahead and kill this video. So this will be part 1. And I'll post that up this weekend, and then part 2 I'll post up next weekend with some drift content and getting everything finished up and welding the diff at least, hopefully knuckles and flaking wheels and you know, that stuff. So anyway, I'm sorry this video ran long. I kind of expect most of my videos to be about 30 to 45 minutes, so this is kind of the norm that I was going for. Let me know down in like the comments what you guys think. If you'd rather them be shorter, would you rather see me like just bit by bit, like instead of filming time lapses, would you rather me do some of that stuff and talking while I'm like working, or you know, you digging the way that everything's going now? I mean, just let me know, you know, and don't be afraid to like and subscribe. I'm just saying, I'm not forcing you. I'm not forcing you. But if you want to, and you want to see some more of this content, you know where we're at. You guys have a good weekend.